Hello, and welcome to another daily broadcast by the galactic news station of Anope. Today we'll be looking at a very interesting topic. As we know, in recent decades and millennium, the National Assembly of Seser has seen itself grow and expand into a true galactic empire, controlling much of the known galaxy. Today, we'll be looking at this empire's capital and the species that rules over it. Fine. A relatively unimpressive star system. Fine is a small, relatively barren star system. Let's have a look. Overall, with only two really good habitable planets that can be habited without hiding on the gas giants' living layers and moons and rings. Fine has a very interesting history. Home to the Zagraria, they get originally the species that ruled over this planet, and indeed still do. They're the native inhabitants to Fine too, which is known to have forests, a satisfying dominion, and pride. Fine too is known for its very luscious. These forests tend to be very luscious, very big, and often cover the entire planet, with only some spots of forestry not covering. On the north is known to have a very satisfying dominion side to things. It is known that anyone who comes here usually feels satisfied with life through mysterious means, possibly by an old Forerunner artifact. The planet is also known for having huge amounts of pride, for being the actual planet that is actually the capital of Seser. The planet, even despite being on a major trade line, known as the Central Galactic Run, isn't all that wealthy itself. With one of its most wealthiest planets being Fan 1, which is known to be gaseous and contain 15 billion people, massive cities on each and every single asteroid. This planet clearly is just a man incarnate, really, for the actual groups of society. Fine 4 is known to be a similar situation to Fan 1, although with less population due to how far it is. It's known to be very stressful to live here, and it's known to be also very plain on small moons that inhabit this planet. Finally, on Fan 3, we see a Terrian planet. We see the population of 5 billion, we see it as an abiding flora, as in the animals and plants of this planet are quite docile. This makes it a popular zoo planet. It's also known for outright relaxation, where it's often known as a vacation home due to how, well, lovely the planet is. We also know that it grows very lush and nutritious crops that are used to feed the entire system and even beyond. The Zagraria species themselves are bird-like creatures, known for their incredibly good looks and interesting physiology. Zombiedalekweck are known for their interesting looks and interesting physiology. They're known to have kind of raptor-like, birdlike. Originally, this species used to have 4 wings, but as evolution went on, the back pair, the larger pair, just became massive feather drops without that much bone structure. The bone has receded way back into the back, and oftentimes they will get chopped off at birth because they're not really that good. The front pair of wings has adopted a more stronger state, being the strongest bones in the body, with small remnants of what could seem to be the wings left. A massive neck for storing food, as on the planet they live, there's not that much life due to how, well, toxic some areas of it are. The neck pouch, as it's called, is used for storing all sorts of food. Sorry for the blurry, the 6 of you decided to be blurry. Warriors will usually be armed with armour plating for the front of them, covered in feathers and scales as you go further down. The Zagrata has 6 massive toes, 2 of them on each side of the foot. On both the right side are massive nails that are used for digging and grabbing into the prey. The middle is smaller but still as long. The small toe is virtually useless and is purely used for assistance. The toes behind this foot, you see, are actually quite small, as it appears that being small is the norm and they only have 1 big toe. This is possibly for grappling reasons, or because the back feet are used for attacking. As we move on to the hands have a very interesting edge. Due to how strong the bones are in the hands, they're rather square, and the nails are pretty much gone. They're often used for battling and fighting over mating rats. The gun itself, that most Zagrata soldiers use, is of slender-like. It has an arch coming down with a button that they use to click to fire. They have a holding handle, and they have an ammo pad that is often used to put ammo in to fill up the plasma gun. On the back, they have a scope. They have an ammo counter. They have a steam ventilator to stop the gun from overloading, and they have a wonky barrel used to direct the plasma. On the back of most Zagrata soldiers holds a jetpack. Due to the loss of flight over the years, the Zagrata species has found a way to come across this. Using jetpacks, they often jetpack across the battlefield, making them a formidable opponent to anyone who comes near. Although in recent times, we have clearly seen a decline in their fighting abilities as they have adopted the galactic superpower status. As now they usually use other species to do the dirty work for them, but oftentimes they are still a formidable opponent. What the fuck? Right. And should not be trifled with at all. The base of the creature is known to have a long snout-like protrusion. If it will load, let's do this then, magnify a little bit. It's known to have a very long snout-like protrusion. With a mouth that, with mainly a lot of clinton being exposed. This clinton is very strong and is often used to rip and tear through flesh and deal with the damage as the creature eats. As you can see, the creature's mouth is full of teeth, often used for biting and eating into meat. Although they can eat some forms of plant, which they often do to balance out the diet. With a small amount of grey feathers, these feathers in mating season will turn blue, possibly to signal potential mates. The eye and the eye decoration will change colour as the seasons go on fine. The eye decorations will change colour depending on the age and mating season. If they are 1 to 10 user, yeah, the eye decoration will be orange. If they are 10 to 11, the eye will go slight yellow. And then, if they are round about 12 to 20, the eye will begin to go a pale sort of yellow colour. But then, past them, the eye decoration was no longer changed depending on age, but depending on how many fights the male has won. If they have won more than 2 users, the body will react, and the eye colour will start changing to all sorts of vibrant colours that are undescribable as they beckon for a female to mate. The nose often is just a plain white colour, but can turn grey in mating season if the male recently lost a fight. The nose is used for smelling prey very far away. As you can see, the Zegretta species is a species that, even though has claimed galactic dominance, is still very, very primitive. In body, that is. In mind, the Zegretta are actually quite smart. Unlike other members of their species, who use the brain size of a pea, the Zegretta species is known to have a huge brain. In fact, most of this, the reason why the snout is so long, is to store extra brain. Their brain looks like a sort of Pac-Man shape, or a pizza with a slice out of it, as it goes around the mouth and around the snout. The brain even has a stem known as the brainstem. The brainstem is the longest nerve in the body. It's connected directly to the vein. It goes straight down the back and splits in half at the legs. This nerve is the main commanding nerve and often commands the other nerves of the nervous system. The species has 2 hearts and 1 blood pump. The reason why the blood pump is different from the hearts is because, unlike the heart, the blood pump only lasts until they're a teenager, and it also only feeds blood to the brain directly. So it's often called the blood pump brain, and it is also directly connected to the brain as well. And that is all. Hopefully you learned how the Zegretta species operates, and on your travels throughout the galaxy, you will know how to deal with the species.